Good evening, you're watching News Mongolian World. I'm your host, Anil. And for top stories, ADB project sustained economic growth momentum in Mongolia in 2023 and 2024. President of Mongolia delivers his speech during the 78th United Nations General Assembly General Debate. And the senior class of the Ulziit soum school in Bayankhongor province actively participated in a training course for responsible voters. And for the news, stay tuned. Mongolia's economic recovery is continuing through this year, and gross domestic product growth will be maintained in the near term. According to a new report issued by the Asian Development Bank, it is anticipated to be driven by the robust external demand, recovery in exports, and a revived domestic demand, though dampened by persistently high inflation, contractionary monetary policy, and tight domestic financial conditions.
In its Asian Development Outlook for September 2023, the growth forecast for 2023 is revised up slightly from its projection of 5.4% in April to 5.7%, but revised down to 5.9% for 2024 from the previous forecast of 6.1%. GDP growth in 2024 will be driven by mining, with positive spillover into transport and other services, as well as private sector lending.
In order to observe the growth in the labor market index, the number of people getting employed needs to grow. Therefore, we should make labor market reform while simultaneously boosting private businesses. Current post-pandemic economic growth that we observe now is solely triggered by mining sector growth.
Economic expectation and visibility in Mongolia have improved since the beginning of this year, mainly due to reopening in the People's Republic of China, subsequent recovery in exports, significant improvements in the current account balance, rebounding of foreign exchange reserves, and lowered risks associated with external debt repayment are all positive factors. However, inflation remained high and above the central bank's target for the past 27 consecutive months, despite recent moderations. Inflation is likely to trend downward in the second half of 2023, though average inflation will remain high at about 10.5% for this year before moderating to 8.6% for 2024, which is revised down slightly from the previous projections in April. Downside risks to the outlook would arise from any decrease in the PRC's demand for bulk commodities, a fall in coal and metals prices, new possible trade restrictions, disruption caused by exacerbated geopolitical tensions, negative spillover from tighter financial conditions, as well as global uncertainty and slowdown. The ADB is committed to achieving a prosperous, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable Asia and the Pacific, while sustaining its effort to eradicate extreme poverty. Established in 1966, it is owned by 68 members, 49 from the region.
The 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly opened on September 5th with a flurry of meetings taking place from September 18th through 22nd in New York. On September 20th, during the general debate, the President of Mongolia, Ulziit, delivered his speech. I wish to convey my heartfelt congratulations to the President of the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Your Excellency Mr. Dennis Francis, and wish him every success with the work of this session. I'm confident that under your able leadership, the 78th session of the General Assembly will facilitate comprehensive discussions on a range of critical issues facing the world and will prevent constructive solutions for peace, prosperity, and sustainability. We cannot only indulge in peace and harmony, but we can entrust a peaceful and a prosperous world to future generations by sincerely yearning for peace, security, and sustainable development, and by devoting efforts and financial resources to consolidate the political, economic, environmental, and socio-cultural foundations that sustain our world. Despite the world's collective accomplishments in overcoming the threat of the global pandemic, we are still facing a range of challenges stemming from geostrategic and geopolitical tensions, socio-economic crisis, climate change, and swift technological advancements. The United Nations, its charter, and international legal system are continuing to play an important role in strengthening global peace and security and fostering international cooperation. To collectively overcome current challenges, conflicts, confrontations, and mistrust, the countries of the world should strive for greater unity, trust, and friendship, and endeavor to further strengthen the role and position of the United Nations as a global community of human solidarity. Mongolia commends and supports the initiatives outlined in the UN Secretary General's report Our Common Agenda, including the recent New Agenda for Peace, which offer proactive solutions to global challenges in international relations by amplifying preventive diplomacy and reinvigorating multilateral cooperation and dialogue.
President Khrushchev states that UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres held up Mongolia as a symbol of peace in a tumultuous world during his visit to Mongolia last year. Additionally, he noted during his speech that His Holiness Pope Francis called upon the international community to seek a revival in adherence with international laws of the circumstances reminiscent of Pax Mongolica, which signifies a period devoid of conflicts in a world marked by countless disputes.
Choosing the right representation at the decision-making level is crucial for initiating social development. Therefore, it is essential to conduct responsible voter training programs in rural regions. This empowers children and young adults to actively engage in elections and make informed decisions.
The Mongolian constitution grants every citizen who has reached the age of 18 the right to vote, run for office, and be subject to the law. These rights and obligations directly influence the nation's development and social life. It's critical to regularly inform young citizens about their civic responsibilities. As part of the Promoting Gender Equality in Public Decision-Making and Women's Empowerment in Mongolia project, a program for teaching responsible voting has been established. This initiative is under the umbrella of the General Election Committee in collaboration with the United Nations Development Program. 2 trainers were trained in each province, who then commenced instructing students with the knowledge they gained during their training.
Due to their status as first-time voters in the 2024 local and parliamentary elections, our students are actively engaging in training. We anticipate that they will acquire new knowledge and understanding, become acquainted with election platforms, and compare party policies. The training also covers election teams, voting procedures, and the operation of voting machines. In the past, I didn't care much about elections and considered them a waste of time. But after taking part in these training sessions, I developed an understanding of how greater youth participation results in extended election programs and activities beneficial to democracy. I've made a commitment to take part in every election going forward. It is essential to carefully review the agenda, comprehend the nature of the job being done for us, and assess any potential effects.
I'm looking forward to casting my first ballot in next year's election. When the time comes, I will vote after truly reviewing the platform of the candidate or party. I've noticed that some people cast their votes without considering the candidate's potential future actions, but look at the current circumstances. In my opinion, it's crucial to approach elections with caution, carefully evaluating which candidate is most qualified to address present-day issues. Representatives from both government and non-government organizations, along with individuals aged 18 to 25, participated in the training sessions. The third session also included high school students from Sangayot School in Ulziit, Bayankhongor province.
Now let's take a look at Mongolia's current affairs.
The 21st meeting of the Mongolian National Chamber of Commerce and Industry was held this week. More than 500 members participated in the meeting and elected a new president. During the meeting, business owners expressed their opinions. 13 presidential candidates presented their election promises and discussed the next 4 years' operational plan and protecting the interests of business owners. Compared to previous year elections, many candidates stood in the election. Candidates Lakshmi, Durung, and Ulziit withdrew from the election. After the presentation of all the election promises, the voting was held in secret and the turnout was 86%. The executive management of 845 enterprises participated in the meeting, reviewed the work reports of the past 4.5 years, and elected 75 members of the board of directors and 7 members of the supervisory board. Another thing that should be noted is that the members criticized that they did not receive an audit report of the previous 4 years and the implementation of the so-called glass wallet transparency policy. As a result, candidate Ichtupshung was elected as the next president of the Mongolian National Chamber of Commerce and Industry with 246 votes, while Turad received 138 votes. Ichtupshung graduated from high school in Darnot province and enrolled in the management class of the economics school at the National University of Mongolia. After graduating from National University of Mongolia, he started his career with the MCS Group in 1997 and became the deputy president of the group.
Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Here's the international news from our partner agencies. The United Nations Security Council called for stop of hostilities between Azerbaijan and Armenia following the latest escalation in the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region. International representatives noted that any renewed escalation would lead to further loss of life and human suffering and further set back internationally supported peace efforts.
Developments indicated a serious escalation in military operations with reports of Azerbaijani forces breaking through the line of contact. There were casualties reported, including among the civilian population.
The further use of violence, Mr. President, will only serve to undermine the tentative, fragile progress towards a sustainable peace agreement between Azerbaijan and Armenia, which should be based on the sovereignty and territorial integrity of both countries, which is unquestionably in the interests of the entire South Caucasus.
And thank you, Assistant. Let me be clear. Azerbaijan has a responsibility to ensure its forces rigorously comply with international law, including international humanitarian law rules governing the conduct of hostilities, the protection of civilians, and the humane treatment of combatants.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I thank the Security Council for convening this urgent meeting to discuss the security and humanitarian situation in Nagorno-Karabakh stemming from unprovoked and well-planned military attack by Azerbaijan.
Ladies and gentlemen, what Armenia tries to present to the international community as an attack on peaceful residents of the Karabakh region of Azerbaijan is in fact local counter-terror measures by Azerbaijan fully in line with its right under the UN Charter to disarm the Armenian armed formations illegally stationed in the sovereign territory of Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan acted fully within the rights safeguarded. These are photos of heavy Armenian military equipment. Absolutely clear that this offensive equipment. On a different track, the Republic of Azerbaijan reaffirms its determination to guarantee to ethnic Armenian residents of the Karabakh region of Azerbaijan international minorities.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you next week with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.